This is John's house. He's a lawyer. And the way I met him was that he's one of the guys who came to check me out when I was painting right over there. They've cut down the tree that I was under. Anyway, and they cut down another tree too. Let's see if I can get this thing to expand now. Maybe you can see a huge stump back. Let's see my finger. Well, you see it right there? That's laying on its side. And I am probably, at least maybe 200 yards away. 150 at least, 175, and it's still that big. And this goes all along beside John's house. John is also went to the art college that I went to, and he was on the board of directors of the art college. Now you see these trees right here, the little Bradford pears, and when they bloom in the spring, and that whole walkway is just alive with these beautiful flowers. And this is the backside of the Pink Palace. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do it justice from where I am, but it's huge. Clarence Sanders, he was a grocery magnate. Piggly Wiggly was the name of his grocery chain, and he invented a way. It's like a precursor of Amazon, where you went and you said, okay, this is what I want, and then there's people back in the warehouse that would pull the order, put it together, and that would come out and all bagged up on a conveyor. And then that was the first of that. Well, he became extremely rich. And he fell in love with this daddy's little princess type woman. Big sense of entitlement. You know, and of course, you know, he's going to marry into the Blue Bloods. And she's used to living a certain way and a certain society standard. And he built this he custom built this huge mansion, biggest house in Memphis, most expensive house in Memphis, out of imported Italian pink marble. Of course, it was a lot pinker then, you know, and they needed to scrub it down with acid. So, anyway, they were engaged, and she didn't know about the house, and then he was going to surprise her. So right before they got married, he showed her the house, and you guessed it, and the gardens, and she hated it. It was too far away from town, for one thing. This was way out in the country back then, and it was, you know, she just hated it. She's full of rotten. She's one of those that no matter what, you hung her with a new rope and she'd still complain. So anyway, she wound up not marrying him. And he never did live in the house. He donated the house. The house stayed empty for a long time. Then finally he donated the house to the city, and they made a museum out of it. For a long time it was just the house itself when I was a kid. And then they added a planetarium and a new wing, and it's really neat inside. But then they, you know, started subdividing all this out, you know, eventually, and building these millionaire houses. But that's the story of Clarence Sanders. And the moral of that story is if you're going to build a house or buy a house, if you're a smart man, you better let the woman pick a house out as far as at least the bathrooms and the kitchen goes. And And a real smart guy will probably just let her pick the house out, period. And you get to say what you like as far as the garage and the man cave. That's about it. And the payments you're willing to make. That's the reality of how it goes. You know what I mean? So, like it or not. Because when especially if you get kids by her, then she divorces you and the judge gives her the house anyway, you're going to wind up paying for it anyhow. So, that's the way it works, unfortunately. You know, so build you a cabin in the woods before you marry her. It's not in her name, and prenuptialize it. And then and she decides that she's got all that she wants out of you, then you'll have somewhere to go, because out of your friend's couch. Okay, anyway, enough of knocking the women. I'm going to show you Jason D. Williams' house. I'm going to show you another house first, then Jason D. Williams' house. Jason D. Williams is the nephew of Jerry Lee Lewis. And he's a ugly little thing, but he sure has got a pretty wife and a nice house too.